The following program is a Town of Colonie television production of the William K. Sanford Town Library.
Welcome to Getting to Know You. My name is Joe Nash. Today we're going to be talking about food and healthy eating, particularly over the holidays. And when I say holidays, I'm not talking about a long weekend. I'm talking about, of course, from Thanksgiving to New Year's, which is over a month of overindulging, hopefully not as much. We have with us Fran Weiss. She is a dietitian at Hannaford. She works at the Central Ave and the Wolf Road store, so welcome, Fran.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for coming. I did not know this. All the Hannafords, almost every single one, has a dietitian on staff.
A large majority of the Hannaford stores have dietitians, and those dietitian services, programs, all free programs can be found online.
So we're going to be talking about some of that. At Hannaford, they have demos, they have classes, they have store tours. So you're the dietitian, so you're not the person in the aisle with the little hot dogs on the toothpick, are you? That's not what you do.
I am one of those people. I actually am one of those people in the aisle, probably not with a toothpick with a hot dog,
okay.
But usually I am in the aisles helping customers read labels, any questions with special diets, trying to find foods. I am in the aisles with healthy food choices and samples of foods that I might create or prepare in the store.
So people can just come up to you and ask you any
Yes.
questions. So how long have you been doing this?
I've been doing this for Hannaford for 3 years.
Okay, I should tell people that Fran is a registered dietitian. She's a certified dietitian nutritionist and a master's of science. So that's quite qualified for helping people in Hannaford.
Well, actually, dietitians are a really crucial part of shopping in a supermarket these days because of the changes in food labels and all the ingredients. I think it's a really an important aspect of shopping in the supermarket to have a dietitian available to help you with proper food selection.
So you split your time between Wolf Road and Central Ave. So
Yes.
what would be like a typical, you just there and anyone, like do you have a certain station or what? How's it work?
Well, people can either send me an email or call or visit me in the store, and we can make an individual appointment and go on store tours, reading labels, or just what type of foods people should eat to help with either weight control, heart disease, diabetes, swallowing problems. And when I'm not doing individual appointments like that, I'm walking around the store and people come up to me and might ask an impromptu question. I also do demos in the store with different topics. Every week would be a different topic.
So are you wearing like a white lab coat or something? How do people know you're the
I usually have a white lab coat that says, it has a white lab coat that says dietitian in big letters on the back, but people still think I'm the pharmacist, so I'm still the dietitian.
So what kind of things do people come up and ask you, or is it?
Well, yesterday, for example, somebody needed high potassium and low lactose food choices that were also low in fat. And she was also concerned about now with the scare with romaine lettuce being contaminated with E. coli 157. She was wondering why there was no spinach on the shelves. So I explained to her that there was no spinach on the shelf because there was a run on everything else that's not romaine. So
I was wondering about that because I was in a store, one of your competitors, I won't mention, and all the spinach and the different lettuces in the square containers, every single one was empty.
Because most of those lettuce mixes, not all of them, but many of those mixes have romaine mixed into them. And sometimes you don't know where the source is when lettuces get mixed. So those are all off as a safety precaution.
So what else do people ask you besides questions about?
Trying to read labels for sodium content, for sugar content. How do you read a label if something says this has 16 grams of sugar? What does that even mean? Like how many teaspoons is that? How do I visualize it? I need to have, I'm going in for a colonoscopy. Can you help me go through the aisles and pick out the proper foods that I'll be able to have in prep?
So are you is this a busy part of your day? Do you really get a lot of questions when you're...
I do. I do. I'm usually there beyond my hours that I'm supposedly there.
All right. So that sounds... And do you get questions from all ages? Everybody, all kinds of people?
This is the beauty of being a Hannaford Dietitian. Yes, I have questions from children, parents of young children who are problem eaters or allergies, right through seniors on limited incomes with diabetes, gluten sensitivities, and high blood pressure and other disorders in between.
Oh, wow. So do people also ask you about recipes and stuff? Not just...
All the time.
Okay.
Yes, we discuss recipes all the time, and sometimes the recipe that I might create in the store, somebody might say, well, I'm allergic to this, or I don't have that ingredient. We talk about food substitutions in recipes.
Now, do you get a lot of questions on, I know it's a big thing now, the gluten-free and all that stuff?
Gluten, yes. We have a whole section on for gluten-free foods in both stores. In addition, there are gluten-free food items in many aisles, so you don't have to just stick to the gluten-free aisle. So we go through the aisles looking for different food options. There are people who have celiac disease who must stay away from gluten. Other people are actually sensitive to gluten. They may get migraine headaches or other.
Now, why is that such a... I don't want to say it's a big thing these days. Why is that increased in the last several years?
I think the awareness of it. I mean, the gluten's...
Some people may have been sick and not knowing what it was? Or...
Exactly. Like the gluten restriction for celiac disease, in the past, people had difficulty finding products. But now it's so much more available because so many more people are reading. Whether they really do have a problem or not, or don't have a physical problem, some people really believe it might be helpful for them. So we do have it available. You could eat a very healthy diet. You don't need to eat gluten to be healthy. As a matter of fact, some people who stop eating gluten-rich foods tend to lose weight because many of the cakes and cookies are high in gluten. So
well, this is the time of year for that.
Right.
So do you get questions from people who are thinking about or are vegetarians or even... What's the next step? Vegan?
Vegan, yeah. So we've actually done a few classes. I do classes on request. So if people have interests, such as vegetarian diets, complementing food proteins on a vegan diet, or other requests have been classes, nutrition and arthritis. So eye health, we do a lot of classes. All the classes are free. But vegetarianism, we have a lot of people interested in that. So I will sometimes alter the recipes I'm doing I always will include a vegetarian option.
It seems like people are way more aware these days of what they're eating. And yet, it seems like there's still a lot of problems with either overweightness, or obesity, I guess I could say that word, and things like that, diabetes and all that. With so much more awareness, people, why do you think there's still such a big
I think we need to follow through on what we know. Sometimes we know something we may not. Sometimes I'll say, do as I say, not as I do. Because, but
well, we all do that.
All do that. But I think just being able to read labels and understand labels, people may look at the front of a label, something may say low fat, and grab it because I think it's healthy, but at the same time it might be very high in sugar. So the number one, do you know what the number one error is when people read labels?
The number one error. They don't know what a gram is? I don't know.
Oh, that's a good answer. Usually people will say they don't read the serving sizes, which is another big thing. But the really number one error that I tell everybody is that they don't read the labels. So that is the number one error. You need to read the label. Turn around and look at the small print.
I do read labels.
Good. I'm not saying you.
My wife is very conscious of sodium, so I think I've learned how to get the right. Not just the ones that the label says low sodium on the front, but actually seeing the percentage there. Right,
and Hannaford actually has a Guiding Stars program that labels different foods, and one of the components of the of the Guiding Star program is foods that are lower in sodium will gain a star. Basically, it's a 3-star system.
I'll just tell people it's almost all your products.
We have a lot of products in the store, so as new products come in, it's a computer. It's an equation.
Maybe people can envision this. On most of the products at Hannaford, it's like a guy kind of going like this,
Right.
And then there's stars. If there's 1 star,
I don't know
you
if
can have
this
1
will
to 3
show.
stars.
I don't know if this will show up on here.
Let me see.
Let's see, or maybe
All right,
on
so
our.
you can't really see it, but it's a guy kind of going like this.
Yes, and he'll.
And then it'll either have 1 star, 2 stars, or 3 stars, and that's on almost all products at Hannaford. Now, this is a Hannaford thing. They don't come like this, right?
They don't. Well, the Hannaford brand products will will actually have the guiding star person. I don't say a man anymore because somebody said, "How do you know it's not a woman?"
Well,
so I always say it's the guiding star person.
Yes, it could be. I suppose it's a unisex. I don't know.
All right.
So 1 star means good nutritional value. 2 means better nutritional, and 3
is best. Okay. So all Hannaford brand products will have this printed on the package. But star. All our other products from other companies will have the guiding stars evaluated, and their guiding stars will be next to their price label.
Okay.
So everything is evaluated in the computer system. So if something has too much salt or fat or artificial color, it's going to lose a star. And a case in point might be black beans, let's say, a can of black beans, which seems really healthy. And you might wonder, now, why does it only get 1 star? It has a lot of protein and healthy carbs and fiber. But if you look at the low sodium variety, it might get 3 stars. So a product might lose stars just on the amount of sodium or fat.
Well, this actually sounds like a very interesting job you have.
I love it.
Do you like, how long have you been, did I ask you, how long have you been?
3 years.
Okay, so it sounds like talking to people, that's always fun. In the library, we always talk to people all day, and it's kind of fun sometimes.
That's great. We should do some programs in the library for people.
Yes, okay, you can.
Nutrition books. Get all the nutrition books. Discuss.
So one of the things we want to talk about, Hannaford has this little booklet. I guess they get them at the store. It's called Balancing Diabetes. Why is diabetes such a sort of a big thing or a big problem these days? I think, was it 1 in 8 or 1 in 9 Americans have some level of it? Is that
well, there's a real increase in obesity, unfortunately, in our country right now due to the amount of sugar and corn syrup and high-calorie foods. We used to have a adult onset and juvenile diabetes. The sad thing is we do not call adult onset diabetes anymore. This is considered type 2 diabetes, which children now are getting in elementary school. So it's really sad.
But it used to be the one only adults got.
Right. Mostly adults got it from being overweight or having other risk factors.
So the thing with diabetes, though, it's not just a dietary, it's a lifestyle kind of thing that can contribute to it.
A lot of risk factors. So if somebody has genetic predisposition, family members, you're at risk. If you have a sedentary lifestyle, that's another risk factor. Eating a high-fat or high-sugar diet would be another risk factor. So having metabolic syndrome, high blood pressure, all these risk factors will give you...
So you don't get it just from eating sugar. That's like when I was a kid, that's what they said.
Right, well, people think that. No, not necessarily.
That's not what it is, really.
Well, if you do have a problem with diabetes or pre-diabetes, you want to stay away from refined sugars.
And then diabetes also affects particularly the heart and the bones. I did not know that. Besides the
yes, and insulin is, if you have too much insulin in your body or a problem with insulin getting into the cells is inflammatory. So what we want to do is have an anti-inflammatory diet, a food we say let's eat from the rainbow. The rainbow meaning the produce rainbow, not the candy aisle rainbow, but having fruits and vegetables of all different colors every day to get as many antioxidants so we become...
So you mentioned the food, what was it, the rainbow?
The food, eating from the rainbow. So if you can, I guess you can hold this up, or one of us can hold this up.
I could. Well, it's too small, but maybe you could explain it.
So eating from the rainbow, if you walk... If one walks into the produce department, when I do a tour, I usually ask people to stop and just look around you. It looks like a rainbow around us. You see the purple grapes, the red apples, yellow apples, orange carrots. Just looking around, you feel like you're in the middle of a rainbow. And what the goal is, every day we need to eat from the rainbow, a different color every...
So you got red, yellow, orange, green, white, tan, brown, blue, and purple.
Yes. Okay. You got it.
That's quite a rainbow.
Now you have to do it with putting the paper down. I was like...
So you recommend people should go from each color every day, kind of? Or
Every day you should eat colors from, yes, you should eat a food from every color so you get all the vitamins. Like, for example, oranges may be very high in vitamin C and small in vitamin A. Carrots might be very high in vitamin A, but a little lower in C. So if I ate carrots all day long, I'd have a lot of vitamin A, but maybe not enough C.
You want balance.
You want a balance. If you have a variety, you'll get everything you need.
All right, now we're talking about the rainbow. Do they still have the food pyramid? Is that still around? I heard they changed it a while ago.
So the food pyramid, so the food pyramid is now called My Plate.
My what?
So it's My Plate.
My plate, okay.
When you come to the store, it's actually pictured over here, a small picture of My Plate.
But in the dietitian world, is there still the food pyramid?
Yes, it started, we had the 4 food groups, and before that, we had several different pyramids.
Okay.
All the pyramids, the plates, the 4 food groups, the 7 food groups, they all say the same thing. Basically, it's a variety of foods, having low-fat proteins, healthy proteins, fruits and vegetables every day, and whole grains. So however you want to picture it, it's really the same thing.
And then do all the stores have some of these handouts with the rainbow and the food plate and all that? You can get them there?
Definitely come in and ask for the dietitian. We have them available for you. We even have some actual My Plates for you that I can give you to eat from.
Look for the person in the white lab coat who is not in the pharmacy. That's how it is.
Who's not in I usually am in the pharmacy because people tend to ask me questions for the pharmacy. There's supplements and other protein powders.
So you are a nutritionist too, so you get nutrition questions also, right?
Well, dietitian is
right.
nutrition and food. Yes.
All right.
Yes.
I didn't know that was the same. So why don't you tell us about Hannaford? They have classes. I'll give you an idea of the kind of classes they've had in the past. Maybe you could talk about what's coming up and how people can get to one. For example, you've had classes on high blood pressure, shake the salt habit. There was one called diabetes for pre-diabetics. Diabetes and pre-diabetes from A to Zinc. A is for autumn, apples, avocados, and nutrition information. Celiac Disease Awareness Month, you had a class. Some of your in-store demos are called Gluten-Free Demo Week, Probiotics Primer, Dinner Deconstructed. So you design all these classes, or?
Well, the demos, if one goes online, you'll see a schedule that looks just like that for all the dietitians. So everybody's welcome to come to any or all of the classes. Everything is free. So, and we're all happy to meet you and see you. So when you look at the paper, on the left side are demos, and those are decided upon by the corporate office. So we all will be doing the same topics for the demos.
Those are the ones you just walk up to you and...
Right, it's listed as 3 hours, but you can walk up. Sometimes I have people all set with a pen and pencil thinking we're having a 3-hour class, but it's actually a walk up whenever you want during that time.
These are right in the store?
In the store, in the different aisles. If you can't find one of the dietitians, you can ask customer service where we're located. Sometimes we move our cart around to whatever the topic happens to be.
And when you have classes, you have the big kitchen of the Central Ave, Hannaford. You have actual classes.
We have classes like the apple, A is for autumn apples and avocados. That was a fun class. We made a salad with all those items we talked about the nutritional benefits first, and sometimes we do fun classes where we're actually hands-on making recipes. So we get some nutrition education first. We don't miss out on that, but we had some fun making a delicious salad.
Now, are these classes popular?
Yes, I think so. I think many of the classes, these are individualized by store based on customer requests.
Right. So what kind do you design for the Central Ave and Wolf Road store?
So I do several classes like on avocados, mangoes. People want to know, how do you cut them? They don't eat them because they don't know how to cut them, or want the nutritional information about it, and then we prepare a recipe. We just did a class on make your own spice mix. So I had different spices set up with measuring spoons, so it was more hands-on. We talked about the importance of controlling sodium intake for high blood pressure and heart disease, and then everybody was able to take home their own spice mixes, so that was a lot of fun. Other topics, as I mentioned before, like you had mentioned, vegetarian is a good topic. People ask about probiotics, the difference between probiotics and prebiotics. We had an interesting class about that. With most of the classes have free food samples at the end, so we had a nice, rich probiotic class that day.
Well, that's a big thing these days. I keep using using that term, the big thing, but probiotics, there's so many food now. Why don't you explain a little bit and why that's so very popular these days?
Probiotics mainly...
Because here in the library, we get new books every week, and the number of new books with the word gut in the title, I can't tell you how many there are with the word gut.
And you're keeping them in the library?
Yes.
Okay,
And I think so what is this? What's all this probiotic stuff about?
Probiotics is good for good digestive health.
Yeah.
In general, to keep your digestive system working well, it's good to have a good source of probiotics every day. If somebody were on antibiotics, you want to make sure to replace the good bacteria that you're losing along with your bad bacteria. So that's why we want to replace
And now the probiotics primer, was that a popular?
That was very popular,
Yeah,
yes.
like I
And
say,
people were surprised to see that I had foods like garlic on the table and sauerkraut, because those are, like garlic is a prebiotic, helps the probiotics work. So it was interesting. In addition to yogurt, there are many other foods that have probiotics.
So I should tell people, if you go to the website, there's an amazing amount of information. It's Hannaford, it'll be on the screen here, hannaford.com/dietitians. And then you can click on, first you got to pick a state. So you could pick New York, and then you can pick all the stores in New York. So pick Latham and or wherever you live, and people watching this. And it'll have the schedule of all the demos and classes. I know we're right now in the middle of, it's just after Thanksgiving. What is upcoming? Do you know off the top of your head? You don't have to give the schedule, but
yes, actually,
what kind of stuff would be coming up if people were to go to and click on?
Actually, we're going to be doing a few more, in my stores, we're going to be doing a few more diabetes classes as per request. There's been a big
So they would click on
request.
either Central Ave or Wolf Road store. I think it says
Yes.
Latham, doesn't it?
Well, Latham is another store.
Another one.
We have a great
I
dietitian.
saw all
great
three there.
dietitian in Latham too. All our dietitians are
but-
very happy to help.
But all the stores have these things.
We all have classes and demos, and as I mentioned, if you click on each of them, if you're in New York, you can click on each of the different stores in New York and see if there's a topic that interests you, and you're welcome to come to that store.
So I did interrupt you a second ago. I'm sorry. What kind of classes are upcoming for you? Did you say?
So we have a variety of classes. I'll be doing something on eye health next month, keeping your eyes healthy.
Is that somehow connected with nutrition and
yes,
diet?
very highly. Come to my class. It's very highly connected.
All right,
We're going to be talking about the ABZs of healthy sleep, of promoting good sleep habits.
Good sleep? Does that have something to do with diet and nutrition also?
Yes, it does. See? Well, you
Everything.
need to come to Hannaford, and I will. I can show you a lot of good foods that can help promote restful sleep.
But I don't, so they can just go and click on the store, and can people sign up, or can they just show up? You got to sign up.
Well, the demos on the left side of the schedule, you don't need to sign up. It's just a walk-in. It's meant for shoppers just happen to be shopping that day, or anybody else who's reading the schedule and wants to come to that demo. So again, the demos, I would have nutrition literature for you to take home, plus a sample and recipes, plus a sample.
And occasionally, a little hot dog on a toothpick, occasionally.
People always ask me for that. Isn't there anything unhealthy here?
I know.
Well,
I'm sorry.
if you come, let me know. I'll get a healthy hot dog for you.
So, and most of the classes are like an hour long.
The classes
if you go to the
usually-
classroom situation.
The classroom situations are usually an hour, but in my experience, they've been at least an hour and a half because people have questions. But they usually schedule for an hour. It's a really good idea to register for the classes, and you could do that either by calling the customer service desk and leaving a message, or sending an email to me. My email or the dietitian's emails are on that site.
Yes, on that same website, there's like 40 or 50 dietitians because all the stores are there, but you can find Fran's, you can email her, or you can actually email, I think on the front page is a general question for a dietitian. You can just
We have our
email.
online dietitian who could answer all of your questions,
Yes.
and sometimes she will direct the person to the closest dietitian to them if they need help in the store. But again, I mentioned registering for the classes. In an emergency, if a class has to be canceled, we can certainly give you a call, so you don't have to make a special trip, although you're always welcome to shop at Hannaford Supermarket. If you happen to be in the store when there is a class and you didn't register, come right on in. You're always welcome.
I don't know
So
if-
you don't have to register if you're there.
Your competitors have these programs, do they?
I don't
don't
know.
know.
I shop at Hannaford.
So one thing before we finish, one of the things you have here, one of the things for healthy eating is swapping one thing for another. Like, for example, you have this whole page here called the carbohydrate swaps. So how does that work? I mean, you can go
So, for example, one of the main carbohydrates that we think about is pasta and bread.
Yeah.
Okay. So, one thing you could do for
if you're trying to cut down on these.
you're trying to cut down, or not only cut down, but have healthier options. So if
Okay.
you have whole wheat bread instead of white bread, or wheat bread, if you come to the store, we'll talk about the difference between wheat bread and whole wheat bread.
Yeah.
Trying to get more fiber in your diet, the whole grain will slow down the fiber, these sugar absorption. Another great
Are
way.
multi-grain breads good?
Well, multi-grain breads, you have to read the ingredients.
Okay.
So multi-grain just means many grains, so they could be refined grains in there.
right.
So that's the trick of reading labels. So
Right.
you want them all whole grains.
My favorite bread, I usually don't read that label. I'll have.
Okay, well, you're allowed to enjoy things in moderation. That's
So so for example, if you have here for fruit juices, sometimes they have too much sugar in them?
Well, fruit juice, if you happen to be a diabetic, it's a very quick absorption of the sugar, so it's better to have the fruit in the whole fresh fruit form, so the fiber is slowing down the sugar
In other words-
absorption. But it's not just fruit juice that has sugars. We have the Gatorades, we have all different type of sports
Yeah.
drinks and lemonades. Those also have sugar. You need to look
They
at the
do,
sugar
okay.
content.
Like
Another thing I
milk.
wanted to mention about the pasta is now we have some great alternatives to pasta, spiraled vegetables. So the carbohydrates are much lower. We have spiraled
I
squashes.
mean, it looks like pasta, but it's made out of vegetables.
That's right. So you can
Okay.
find it either in the freezer section or in the produce section, or you could actually sell spiralizers. You can spiral your own veggies and make spaghetti and put on some sauce. You won't know the difference. Actually, it tastes better.
Well, Fran, we're out of time. This has been really interesting. Fran Weiss, she is the dietitian for Hannaford. They have classes, they have demos. You can find her at the Wolf Road or Central Ave store with the white lab coat.
But I don't always have a white lip coat
Okay,
on,
but anyway.
But I do have a badge.
Well, thank you. This has been very informative, and hopefully people will be eating a little healthier over the holidays.
I hope so. Happy holidays to everybody.
All right, thanks for coming. And
Thank
we'll
you for
see
having me.
And we'll see you next time on Getting to Know You.